My name is Kipling Gabriel Pascal, and I'm in Dr. Hayes' Authentic Christianity class at 9:05 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And this is my book report. The book I chose was Mere Christianity. Here it is online. It has all the parts. And this is my book review summary. So I'm pulling up the syllabus now to make sure I get all the questions right. Okay. So, when I was reading the book, I split it up into like four major parts. For the first part, I believe that Lewis kind of discusses like basic human nature, and he argues that moral law isn't just something that we like randomly created, that it was something that is a timeless truth that was invented by somebody much more powerful. And he hasn't introduced God yet at this time, but he talks about an all-powerful being who stands outside, time and space. And so in the second part, he discusses the theories of the all-powerful being, in other words, religions and different like pantheism, atheism, stuff like that. And then he ends up getting into how Christianity talks about how evil isn't just like evil, that it's actually spoiled good. So he's talking about sin. And for the third part, well, actually, at the end of part two, once he just introduces Christianity, he talks about Jesus Christ and that he is the cornerstone of Christian religion. And towards the end of that, he talks about the only way to actually be virtuous and moral is to worship Christ. And then he moves on to what I call part three of the book. And there is where he starts to study the life of a Christian and the life of a good Christian, especially. And he believes that there's three different parts, and this is a harmony. There's like something that's between people, within somebody, and the constant like state of awareness to reach salvation. In this part, which one of the major insights that I got from it to answer one of the questions from the syllabus is that virginity and avoiding sex until marriage. And he argues that modern society has been overrun with sex and sexuality, and not just that, but immoral sex and sex outside of marriage. And he believes that it's controlling our society. It's one of the greatest causes of the evil and the immorality. And so he really defends virginity and what it means for a Christian to take pride in that. But he argues the most dangerous of all is pride. And when people place themselves above God, they will always commit other sins. Which takes me to the fourth part of the book. And this is when he talks about moral theology. He talks about the Trinity, how God is three in one. He makes a few references. And then on the end of my notes now, that also in the fourth part, Lewis goes on to write that by worshiping Christ, we can kind of transcend our own mortality, being mortals, and we can experience Christ himself, which is divine and eternal, and we become adopted children of God through this process. So I forgot the other insight. And so a second insight that really stood out to me was when he described Christianity as kind of a great hall with multiple doors, and he's referring to denominations and just how some people pick a different door to Christianity, which is just a different denomination. But it really made me think of, open and closed fist policies and how there is fracturing of Christian faith just over some things that shouldn't be, in my opinion. And so yeah, that was my book report. Here's the book again that I had. I didn't know if it went through good. And that's it.